Ding E. The quantum ghost dancing in the graveyard of truth. On the multidimensional portrait of the scientific martyr in the three-body problem, I, Mad Prophet, Dionysus Priest in the laboratory. In the control room of the Beijing Electron-Positron Collider in 200X, Ding E shook a half bottle of Ergo-2 to break open the safety door and modified the particle beam parameters amid the red alarm. The energy curve on the screen suddenly danced flamenco steps, and the young assistant was horrified to find that this drunk professor redefined the formula of strong interaction force with alcohol content. 1. Unconventional scientific research methodology. Alcohol catalyst, claiming that ethanol can make the mind enter the quantum tunneling state. And there are always 3 empty bottles on the desk. Mount I, inspiration, of vodka, calculation, in craft beer, writing papers. Aesthetics of violent experiments. Once used a fire axe to split the low-temperature superconducting device just to verify whether breaking symmetry makes a pleasant sound. Metaphysical deduction method. Draw the Book of Changes Bagua diagram on the blackboard to explain string theory and use chalk to mark Qiangua equals 11-dimensional space folding point. 2. Punk spirit of intellectuals. Ding Yi's laboratory is like a postmodern art exhibition hall. The lyrics of Cui Jian's Nothing are posted on the particle acceleration pipeline. The liquid nitrogen tank is graffitied into a space battleship with the muzzle pointing to the target, with Smart Sun written on it. The wastebasket is full of torn Nobel Prize recommendation letters, and the fragments are pieced together to form the poem Lisa. 2. Ball lightning. Oedipus chasing the blue phantom. At the Yunnan thunderstorm season observatory, Ding E tracked ball lightning for 73 consecutive hours. When the 1.5-meter diameter blue-purple ball of light penetrated the bulletproof glass, he threw away the radiometer and opened his arms. The ionized air burned honeycomb holes in his white coat, like Icarus burned by the truth. 1. The paradox of the quantum lover. Lin Yun's death. Witnessing his lover turn into a quantum rose, he has since grown blue hydrangeas in his office, and the number of petals always corresponds to the latest prime number. Macro-atom obsession. Calling ball lightning the capillaries of the universe, he firmly believes that he can touch the high-dimensional space through them. Tombstone equation. Carving the Schrödinger equation in front of his deceased wife's tomb and rewriting the wave function with different colored chalk every Qingming festival. 2. The bloody romance of weapon philosophers. The quantum weapon system that Ding E participated in developing is full of poetic violence. The guidance code of the Blue Rose missile contains Yeats's poems. When the macronuclear excitation device is activated, Chopin's Funeral March will be played. The soldier's manual states, observation creates reality, must be silently recited 3 times before using the quantum rifle. 3. Eve of the Water Drop. The last physics carnival of humanity. In the year 205 of the crisis era, Ding E boarded the Mantis probe wearing a t-shirt with Schrödinger's cat is still alive. When the young officer reminded him to check his space suit, the old man laughed and caught 3 walnuts. This will become the most tragic juggling performance before the Last Judgment. 1. The ultimate lesson plan for the desperate classroom. 48 hours before touching the water drop, Ding E gave the expedition team the last lesson. Using walnuts to demonstrate the strong interaction force. You think they are hard. They are softer than tofu on a cosmic scale. Using a pen to poke the foam board. Human science is like looking for patterns on bubble film while the truth is in the safe. Disassembling children's toys. This clockwork frog is closer to the cosmic truth than our detector. 2. Dramatic verification of the death prophecy. When Ding E raised the geological hammer to hit the water drop, his every move reproduced the violent aesthetics of the laboratory at that time. Hammering angle. Perfectly in line with the optimal solution for particle collision, mentioned in a paper he wrote 23 years ago. Screen content. Let me see your. The second half of the sentence was annihilated in the nuclear explosion, but it inspired Luo Ji's dark forest epiphany. State of the body. The quantized debris drifted in the orbit of Jupiter, becoming a scientific tombstone of human civilization. 4. Paradox of time migration. Fermenting truth in hibernation chambers. ***. From the crisis era to the deterrence era, Ding Yi's hibernation records show that he required Beethoven's heroic symphony to be played every time he woke up, claiming that resurrection requires the courage to fight against entropy increase. 1. Cross-era scientific performance art. Bronze Age experiment. Cultivating quantum bacteria in an interstellar battleship to try to create a living von Neumann probe. Smart blind spot challenge. Deliberately deriving wrong formulas in front of the camera to induce the trisolarans to relax monitoring. Doomsday Party. At the New Year's banquet in the bunker era, Maxwell's equations were written with an antimatter champagne fountain. 2. Absurd practice of knowledge archaeology. Ding Yi was obsessed with science history cosplay in his later years, wearing Galileo's robe and using a laser pen to demonstrate the heliocentric theory, wearing Newton's wig and throwing apples in a zero-gravity chamber. Holding a photo of Einstein sticking out his tongue and asking young scholars to go beyond the physical depth of this expression. V. The revelation of two-dimensional foil, finding poetry in dimensionality reduction. When the solar system began to become two-dimensional, Ding Yi refused to board the curvature spacecraft. He stood in the Pluto Museum and wrote the last formula on the surface of the Mona Lisa replica with liquid helium, and the picture collapsed into a quantum state variant of Van Gogh's Starry Night. 1. The crazy conception of the ultimate experiment. Dimensionality reduction observer. Trying to capture 10-dimensional space information with two-dimensional eyeballs. Two-dimensional foil musical instrument, tuning the folds of space-time into the rhythm of Guangling San. Tombstone equation, using its own two-dimensional process to draw the standard model expansion equation. 2. The dying monologue of the cosmic poet. Ding Yi's last words before he disappeared were recorded by gravitational waves. Tell Chung Xian that I have found a way to give civilization to the years. That is to write the decay of each proton into a sonnet. 6th Quantum tombstone. The observer who lives forever in the probability cloud. The zeroer later found an abnormal data packet in the 647th microcosm, and after decompression, it was a holographic image of Ding Yi. This quantum ghost is still conducting a never-ending thought experiment. 1. The interdimensional classroom in the probability cloud. Explain the relationship between the Tao Te Ching and quantum mechanics to the three-body students. Guide the Singer civilization to create ukiyo-e with two-dimensional foil. Propose to the zeroer to compose a symphony of the process of restarting the universe. 2. The ultimate truth of the eternal madman. The inscription on Ding Yi's tombstone changes in countless universe versions. Three-dimensional universe. Here is buried the last arrogance of mankind. 10-dimensional universe. This person is still observing us. Zeroer archives. Please note that this individual may exist in all possibilities. Epilogue. At the banquet of Maxwell's demon. When the first ray of light of the new universe rose, the sound of glass colliding came from a quantum bubble. Ding Yi's figure was looming in the probability wave. He was drinking dark energy with a Klein bottle. 12-dimensional versions of special theory of relativity were scattered on the table. The parchment on the wall read, "The end of physics is Dionysus. Poets live in the gaps of experimental data, and truth is always the most beautiful illusion in the eyes of drunkards."